Hi there, I'm Dawn Livingston, and a big welcome to the Transcend and Succeed show, dedicated to inspire you to take steps to unlock the limitless potential within you and pave the way to an extraordinary life. My mission for this show is to provide education and information to allow you to change your perceptions and gain the wisdom to prompt you to take action to transcend your limitations and achieve abundance in every aspect of your life. My guests will be sharing their learning experiences along with practical tools and powerful insights, empowering you to gain awareness and create positive shifts. So, if you're ready to conquer your barriers, overcome your challenges, and embrace your true potential, you've come to the right place. So, without further delay, I'm excited to introduce this week's special guest, Tracy Jay Thomas. Now, Tracy is a skilled past life regressionist with a passion for empowering individuals on their transformative journeys. Since obtaining her certification as a hypnotist in 2000, Tracy has been dedicated to helping people heal and grow with past life regression using the power of the subconscious mind. Tracy is also trained in EFT, a powerful method for addressing emotional and psychological issues, and she utilizes both techniques in her remote past life regression sessions to facilitate the clearing of energy blockages acquired in early life and those traumas rooted in past lifetimes. Her empathetic approach and deep understanding of the human psyche make her a trusted guide for individuals seeking profound personal growth, emotional release, and spiritual exploration. Tracy's mission is to support others in unlocking their inner potential and living their best lives. So, welcome, Tracy.
Hi, Dawn. Thank you for having me. It's
You
wonderful
are
to.
you're so welcome. It's lovely to see you. So let's start by diving right in, Tracy, into past life regression therapy. So, can you explain to us what it is and how you would describe it to someone who's unfamiliar with the concept?
Well, past life regression therapy is rooted in the concept of reincarnation, having had that each of us have had past lives.
Yeah.
Um, one builds on the next, supposedly, but there are traumas that have happened in those past lives where perhaps we died as a child, or perhaps we were murdered. There are traumatic emotional repercussions that affect us in this life
Mhm.
based on those past lives. So past life regression is a method by which we access that trauma in order to resolve it. And that's what happens. It either happens instantly or it happens over time. But once that trauma is understood, for example, someone might have a fear of snakes or a fear of heights. Once it's understood that it comes from a past life, um, it's easily resolved. You see, because it's emotional trauma, and emotional trauma has energy, and that energy sticks with you in your auric field when you come into this life.
Oh, it sure does.
It doesn't. Yeah. And we've all had experiences of recurring dreams or inexplicable fears,
Mhm.
and oftentimes there's no rationale. There's no logic behind it in this life.
Yeah.
And that's when we start digging.
Yeah. And do you find that you come across people that don't have that belief about past lives?
Yes, there are lots of people who don't believe in past lives, but that doesn't mean it doesn't work.
Hmm.
Because the process is basically taking them into a very deep, relaxed state, which is the process of hypnosis. And whether or not they believe in it, they have the experience. Uh, Afterwards, they sure believe in
Hmm.
it.
Hmm.
So it doesn't affect the efficacy of the process either.
Hmm. And we don't come into this lifetime, this is my understanding of it, we don't come into this lifetime with all this, the past learning and the past knowledge and the past wisdom. We don't, we just come in and we've got a blank slate and it's almost like we've got to start from scratch again. Excuse me.
Yes, I call it amnesia.
Yeah.
Yes, it's true. And it's unfortunate. However, I think if we were to know all of the past learning, we'd also know all of the past trauma, we'd be a total mess. We wouldn't be able to function in this life. We've all been scoundrels. We've all been, kings and queens and the elite, of whatever era. And, you know, trauma goes hand in hand with that. We're human.
We are, and I talk about, bringing all the vibrations and the emotions forward in every single life that we have, and we don't just excuse me, bring that from our own experiences, we bring it through those of our ancestors as well, those that we are close to. And I saw this one day and I had to check it out. But did you know that by the time you get to your ninth generation, you are affiliated with over 2,000 people that you are taking on these vibrations and emotions from? So it's no wonder we're in a bit of a state at the moment. It's no wonder we've got a lot of work to do. Would you agree?
Yes, I do. 100%.
Mm.
It's interesting because when I look at some of my past lives, and I was my ancestry is Greek, and one quarter, I guess, of me is Greek,
Wow.
and I go back to having a past life in Greece, studying at the foot of a master as a young boy, and I it's one of the fascinating things that I get to ponder about what I do. It's like maybe I'm actually literally genetically related to that past life as a young boy in Greece.
Mhm. It's amazing, isn't it? I know, and I've come across some things that really help me to understand why I've been feeling in a certain way. I absolutely do. So, can you just walk us through a session? Tell us,
Sure.
typically what it is that you do.
Well, I start with a lot of questions with my client. I want to understand where they would like to go with this. I have a complimentary discovery session that we cover off a lot of this during, and I want to understand what they would like to achieve, what results they're hoping to find, what their expectations are, uh, what challenge that they would like to overcome. And sometimes it starts with EFT because I want to clear any blockages that might be there or resistance to undertaking the process. Some people are afraid of hypnosis because of what they see in television and movies, like someone's taking over your body and you're going to do crazy things that you don't want to do. But that's all fallacy.
Mhm.
While you're in hypnosis, you are in complete control. And so if you want to pop out of it, you can. And I have had clients pop out of it when they see something shocking or surprising in a regression. Sometimes they'll just pop right out. And so they are in 100% control. But basically, the process is deep, deep relaxation. There are 4 stages of consciousness. The first, where you and I are talking now, is called beta. The next level is called the next level down, which means that the thoughts per second, the cycles of thoughts have been reduced.
Mhm.
So in alpha, your brain is moving just marginally slower than in beta, like we are now. And then below that is theta, where people have painless childbirth or painless dentistry. And then below that is delta, which is deep sleep. So my job is to put people in a very very relaxed state where they are in alpha, potentially theta, and I guide them to a place where, uh, with imagination, we are opening the door to the subconscious mind. And as the guide, I'm suggesting to them that um, they're going to land up, so to speak, in a place that is going to be for their highest and best good, and that will answer a problem or a question, or help them understand an issue that they are experiencing in this life. So, and I guide them through it. So what do you see next? And what do you see now? And what sense are you getting about this? And there is a very specific process where you take people actually to the end of that life and to the last breath to determine if there is any trauma there, or if there's any thought process that gets locked into their etheric or their energetic body. And then we take them to a place where they get to speak to their higher self, or a wise master, and get wisdom. What was the purpose of that lifetime? What did I need to learn? What did I learn? Where did I fail? And so after that, I bring them out, and they either think that they imagine the whole thing, uh, and then they realize that no, it wasn't an imagination. It's pretty exciting. They're always just flabbergasted. And as the days and weeks progress, they may remember more snippets, more detail. They may get realizations, aha moments. It's a pretty exciting process, very effective. And whatever problem, often, right out of the past life regression, they will be eliminated, or surely within days or weeks after the session.
Mm-hmm. And talking about, you know, and that's funny because my past life regression session with you,
Yes.
I couldn't remember very much about it at all. And I know exactly what you're talking about, you know, the brainwave frequencies.
Hmm.
I'm in theta quite a lot. That's where I do my work from. So
Hmm.
I can get into that state, you know, virtually instantaneously.
Hmm.
But when you were walking me through and asking me all these questions, you know, when I came out of it, I couldn't remember very much at all. And it's not until I listened back to the recording, and some of it was very surprising. I wasn't expecting to hear that. So, what do you think causes that, you know, not being able to remember at the time or immediately afterwards?
You know, I think it's our brain trying to protect us, but also you're quite deep. And when we come back to this reality, there has to be a reconciliation. So it's very, very important that you hear it, more than once afterward. In fact, that's how you help to integrate the learning, the knowledge, and realize that that person is different than who you are now, and that was that trauma, and that was that experience, and not this one. Although the wisdom, and there are things that you can pull into this life from that one. um, I'm not exactly sure. Many of my people don't go as deep as you. In
Mm,
fact, uh, in 2006 and 7 and 8, when I was doing a lot of past life regression, the people were going very, very, very deep, and very few remembered anything. They would have to listen to the recording, and they always get a recording after the session. But now it seems that people don't have to go so deep. I think in your case, because that's part of your work, that's part of your
yeah.
regular work. You tap
Mhm,
in there and you go deep naturally. You've developed that over all this time that you've been doing the work that you do.
mhm.
But I think most people don't go that deep. I haven't seen, people talk to me like they're talking, like you and I are talking right now, while they're
And
in
you,
hypnosis. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And you were talking earlier about trauma. I mean, is that one of the main reasons that people come to you and want a past life regression, or are there other reasons as well?
Well, there's lots of reasons. Most people don't necessarily connect the trauma that they experienced in a past life with the problem that they're having in this life.
Yeah, yeah, because they're not aware of it, are they? Yeah,
Exactly.
it's yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
It's trying to explain that to them as well. It's maybe not something that's happened in this lifetime. It could be from another lifetime that you've had, and you bring all this forward.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's quite handy to be able to look back and actually see it, because I was very surprised, um, the things that I was seeing, which have really cleared a few things up for me.
Ah,
Yeah,
do tell, do tell.
well, it was about my feeling that I really didn't belong here. And when I
Hmm.
say, this might sound a little bit woo-woo, but I don't care. That I believe I belonged on this planet,
Hmm.
which was a bit strange.
Hmm.
But it really, gave me a deeper understanding that in one of my other lives, I had a great time on another planet and everything was going good. And when I compare what I remember from these images, the moving images that I was given on that planet, and then look at what's going on in this planet, I'm not surprised. I feel like I don't belong here because I don't want to be here. I want
Hmm.
to be back on that other planet where it was so nice and everything was going well, and there was no politics, and there was no war. There was nothing like that at all.
I
Yeah.
think you were very fulfilled in your career in that lifetime as well.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
in a subsequent session with you, we had a discussion with your higher self that said that that was one of your earliest
Mm.
lifetimes
Yes.
on this other
Yeah.
planet. Yeah,
And I was a healer on that one too.
exactly.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Because I suppose one of the questions that myself and probably an awful lot of other people are asking, what's my purpose here? And I know that I have been exactly like that for the vast majority of my life. I'm the only one in my family that does anything like this.
Hmm.
I don't know very many people that do this. But I don't know. I just always felt, am I doing the right thing? And even though it felt natural, to me to kind of fall into this, method of healing
Hmm.
and into the healing mode, but I, I I just didn't feel like I fitted in, you know?
Well, I think the thing is to follow your passion. I know it sounds kind of cliche, but it was such a natural thing for you to be into the healing realm. And I think we doubt ourselves because of the criticism that we get around us, because of the judgment that we get around us from our family members and friends. There are many times that I've shared things with my friends and they're like, okay,
Woo,
you're
woo.
off the rocker. And I've always been the forerunner in my family, introducing this and that and meditation and so on. And so I think I think it boils down to following your passion, whatever it is, whatever obsesses you, that makes you feel good. Just do it and enjoy it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and I think it's taken me all these decades of life to come to the conclusion that I just have to be who I am
Hmm.
naturally, and
Hmm.
just go with the flow, instead of constantly asking these questions about, who am I and what am I supposed to be doing,
Hmm.
and just go with what feels right. And I think a lot of people aren't doing that. They're always guided by someone else to do something, and it might not be particularly what that person wants, but it's what maybe your parents want for you,
Hmm.
but it might not resonate with you. And so many people just go down that route.
I
They
think the
they
most
absolutely
important thing, sorry, Don.
do. Oh, carry on.
I think the most important thing is that we need to learn to feel into something, to feel into the experience, to feel into the relationship, to feel, into the question. We need to understand the signals that we're getting in our bodies that is indicating yes or no. This doesn't make me feel very good. So then you back away. And the more we listen to that, the stronger it gets. The more we trust it, the better it is. The
Mhm.
problem is everything gets so muddied when we're told what to do, what to think, and we're criticized for the things that do bring us joy, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's talk a little bit more about that in a second, but we're just going to take a quick break with some messages, so we will be right back.
Hi, Laura Cross, your host for Mindful Mondays, every Monday at 1 p.m. Central Time, where you can embark on a transformative journey of self-care and ultimate happiness. Tune in to the Voyage to Vitality channel on the Achieve TV network. Mindful Mondays with Laura Cross. Be there, be mindful, and join us on E360 TV.
And we're back with Tracy Jay Thomas today. And just before the break, we were talking about feeling, intuition, going with your inner knowing. And I think that we're mostly told to go on our other five senses, yeah, our touch, our taste, etc. But we're not told to go with our gut.
Mm-hmm.
What do
And
you think about that? Would you agree?
oh, yes, of course. Yes.
Yeah.
However, the more, and you experience this, Dawn, the more you tune in, the better it gets. The more
Yes.
meditating you do, sitting just quietly and listening to your body, just even doing the past life regressions, you get more and more attuned to the voice inside that always wants your highest and best good. So it's very beneficial to practice this because it will never steer you wrong.
It's not encouraged though, is it?
It's
I
not
think
encouraged.
I
It's
think we
true.
focus on the tangible things, things we can see, things we can hear, things we can touch, rather than what we feel inside.
Hmm, hmm. However, reality is not out here. Reality is in here. It's
Indeed.
in here where we perceive how the world is. And I think that's important to keep in mind. You can choose to look at the world with a positive outlook, or you can choose to let everyone else out there tell you how to be.
Yeah.
It's very important to be independent in your own thinking
Mm.
and trust your voice.
And yeah, your inner voice. Yeah, but I think we're not really taught to be a free thinker. We're
Hmm,
more conditioned along the lines of, here's how it is, and this is how it's got to be. This is how you've got to believe it to be. And I think that actually being able to think for yourself and think out the box about absolutely everything is probably one of the greatest senses that we could
hmm,
that
hmm.
we could have. Very
Yeah.
powerful.
I guess it depends on your family because my mother was a school teacher and she was meditating with the children on the floor in 1975.
Wow.
Yeah, teaching them how to meditate, laying on the carpet in the classroom. So, it depends on your family. Some families I think are much more open.
Hmm.
Yeah, my mom was sort of turned away by the Catholic Church, and she got into spirituality. And those books were laying around the house, and I picked up the prettiest, most colorful one, and that was it. I was hooked.
Yeah.
So I was very fortunate in my family. But every family has naysayers, shall we say?
Oh, yes. Yes, I can agree with that. I can agree with
Yeah.
that. And just when you said that, around spirituality, I got an image popped into my head, um, about really when I was introduced to this other worldly thing. Um, we were been going to a spiritualist church, where people get up on a small stage and they'll tell people who's there, and give them messages from those that have passed over. And my
Oh.
my dad had passed over, so there was a few members of our family had gone there. We were just looking for a little bit of comfort. But that was kind of the first time. And then after that, Reiki found me. Yeah, you don't say that you find Reiki, because Reiki always finds you. And
Hmm.
it was just a total, well, I say it was a total accident, but nothing's ever an accident, is it? There's no
No.
coincidences. No, I was looking for something else to do. My sister and my mother used to go to the local college a couple of nights a week, just, for a little bit of us time. And we were, like waxing and this type of thing, little beauty treatments that we were having some fun to do. And then that came to the end of the course. And I'm like, oh, I wonder what I'm going to do now. And then I remember a girl at work had said to me, she says, my neighbour's doing a Reiki course this weekend. And I thought, oh, okay, I'll go. I had no idea what it was, absolutely no idea what it was, but I really felt drawn to it, felt like I
Mm-hmm.
had to go. So isn't it amazing how you're pulled,
Mm-hmm.
and guided in your life towards the things that are best suited for you? Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
yeah.
I was very drawn to healing from a young age as well. It was 1988, and I did my first course in Reiki. And then I did therapeutic touch. I did two courses in that. And then I did reflexology.
Mm,
So, and then, the hypnosis has been there all along. It's the
mm,
power of the subconscious mind that actually is the most fascinating thing to me. And it's my passion. I was trying all these healing therapies and finally found, well, I guess I knew it all along. I just didn't listen.
mhm. I mean, I do find it totally fascinating, the power of the subconscious mind as well, and I just love working with it because
Hmm.
it seems to, bring up new knowledge and understanding all the time, all the
Hmm.
time. And you keep getting different things to handle, and which forces you to, um, you know, delve a bit deeper and a little bit more education. You're constantly learning through it.
Hmm. If
Yeah.
you think of an iceberg, people don't realize, but if you think of an iceberg, we only see 10% that's above the water, but there's 90% below the water. And if you think of your subconscious mind like that, it is like that. Your conscious mind is the 10% at the top of the iceberg, and your subconscious is the 90% below the water level. And so what happens, it is your subconscious mind, it doesn't judge. It doesn't say that's good for you or that's bad for you. It just delivers the result. So when you program yourself, now I'm talking like a hypnotherapist as opposed to a past life regressionist, but you could be programmed that it's hard to make money. And that's in your subconscious mind. And your subconscious mind just says, yeah, okay, it's hard to make money.
So
And it
here,
just
I'll make it hard for you to make money.
exactly, exactly, because the subconscious is like the mind of God. It
Yeah.
just delivers what you ask for, but you have to
It's
believe it.
Yeah, well, absolutely. That's where all our habits lie.
Hmm.
All the things that we have done, repetitively, that have sunk into the subconscious mind. And when you talked about the iceberg there, that is exactly how I describe it.
Hmm.
Instead of the 10%, though, I make it five. So it's 95 and five. And
Yeah.
that, your life is driven 95% of the time by your subconscious mind. It's driven through your habits,
Hmm.
and only, or 5-10% consciously when we are
Hmm.
awake,
Hmm.
that we will make a decision during the day on what it is that we're actually doing. But the rest of our lives are actually driven by automatic habits that we don't even want most of the time,
Hmm.
and we don't know how to get rid of them. We just think we're trying to do, we're just doing the best we can. Yeah. Mhm.
It's true. But the beauty of the subconscious mind is it's accessible through hypnosis.
Yes.
And you can always put, new stuff in there, and you can reinforce that, and you can, reprogram the subconscious mind, and eventually, the reality out there starts to reflect what you've reprogrammed in your subconscious mind. So, as soon as you change your beliefs and your attitudes, you start to manifest a different life. And
Yeah.
that's very exciting.
Hmm. And do you find you come across like conflicting beliefs? I find that I would say 95% of the time, when I'm in a healing session with a client, I get that they have a fear of success and also a fear of failure. So those two are just, cycling around and round and knocking heads, really.
That's interesting. That's
Hmm.
interesting. I know that, people say one thing, and then when you start digging, it's the opposite. Because I think it's a an attempt to refute, that deep underlying fear.
Hmm.
And so there's that conflict. There's the opposites right there. The denial, perhaps.
Yeah, yeah. Mm. Can you give us some other things or issues that you can help with, either through the hypnosis or the past life regression?
Yes, and EFT is very, very powerful as well. EFT is uh, essential in what I do. But people come for, as I said, all kinds of phobias, whether it be snakes or heights or flying. Because what happens is that people visualize a result that they don't want. When there's a fear of flying, they think about crashing. And that's the fear. The fear is about the crashing, instead of realizing or thinking about um, meeting their friends or family when they arrive at their destination. That the happy side of things. And oftentimes, fear of flying is about fear of losing control. So these are the things that we would be digging up in a past life regression. And I always give my clients the opportunity, because we've discussed whatever challenge that they would like to overcome before the session. There's an opportunity, as I'm doing the induction with them. That's when they start to go into a very deep, relaxed state. It's called the induction. I give them an opportunity to release their intention to, you know, to their higher self, so that they ask to be delivered to the right lifetime or the right circumstance. Sometimes it's not past lives. Sometimes it's early life. In fact, I've had a series of those where it was trauma from childhood,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
So back to your question, it's phobias, but it's not just that. It's insecurities. It's uh, like you said, fear of success. Where does it come from? Um, Sometimes I'll take somebody into a past life situation where we ask that they experience a very successful life if they're struggling in this lifetime, and then they can reflect on that and bring the wisdom and the power of that experience into this life.
Yeah, with the confidence, along with the confidence. Yeah,
Exactly. And it's very transformative. It's just
yeah.
a wonderful exercise to do.
Mhm. Well, just going back there to what you said about, the trauma coming from this lifetime, and we know it doesn't just have to come from this lifetime; it could come from any other lifetime. But I also find sometimes that the trauma actually comes from the birth of that person.
Mhm.
Maybe, the mother was having a hard time
Oh,
in,
yes.
in childbirth, and there was maybe something, like a forceps delivery, or
Mhm.
there was a little bit of an emergency, or a big bit of an
Mhm.
emergency, and then a C-section was
Mhm.
required, and it's the trauma of the birth that that child was not expecting
Mhm.
that can actually cause a lot of fear, I find. Do you
But-
find
Yes.
similar?
Yes. And in vitro, the child is so susceptible to the mother's thoughts, the mother's feelings, and Don, this as well, that children don't develop a rational mind. They can't rationalize things. They can't reason until after the age of six or seven-ish. So what happens is we make emotional conclusions, and those emotional conclusions go from, in vitro right up until that age, 6 or 7, when they can start rationalizing. The problem is that they end up programmed with all of these conclusions that aren't true. Mommy and daddy are breaking up and it's my fault. That kind of stuff. Daddy doesn't love mommy anymore and it's my fault. I must have done something bad. Those kinds of really irrational kinds of conclusions.
Yeah.
But that's what a child's mind does.
Yeah,
Same as in vitro.
Yeah. And the baby in the womb can hear things, it can sense things, and the baby's born with all, it's like 49% genes from either, from each parent, and the 2% is, uniquely the baby's, like, eye color, how tall the child's going to be, this sort of thing. But they also bring the vibrations from each of the parents. And any of the emotions that come with that child. So each child really has double the amount to deal with, plus all the ancestral line. Do you find the same?
I haven't really given it that much thought. What I tend to think, I deal with a lot of people who have illness, and the illness is tied to the emotional baggage, and it's not necessarily from this life. So, but what I also believe is that when you see generational breast cancer or generational prostate issues or generational name your illness,
like
the illness
cancer or diabetes,
exactly, that tends to run through families. I am playing around with the theory, and it's more than a theory for me anyway. That it's not that it's genetic. It's not that it's genetic. What is passed down from mother to daughter, or father to son, or father to daughter, is the mental patterns, the behavioral processes that, it's just like a bear cub. The mother doesn't sit them down in a classroom and say, okay, you do this and you do this, and this is how you catch a salmon in the stream. It's watch me. This is how you're going to eat. They watch, they observe what the parents do. And just like that, little children observe how parents communicate to each other, how parents express their feelings, if they express them at all. And that's what we learn. And it's those learned blockages that we inherit.
It's like their beliefs, it becomes their truth. Yeah. So it's not like, just to carry on from what you were saying about it not being genetic, they only believe it's genetic because they're told it's genetic. Yeah, and that's what's been passed all the way down. And really, our genes can be influenced by our environment, which means our thoughts.
And our thoughts.
Yes, exactly. And it's very, very important. And I know Dr. Bruce Lipton has a lot of work on that, the biology of belief, and his work is incredible. And I just knew that it wasn't a genetic thing. It's just the belief in the genetic thing that we're told. Growing up, that that's what creates that illness.
But it's also aging. It's that's what we believe. We buy life insurance because we're going to die one day. Well, you've just believed that, right? So you're planning for your death instead of planning for your life. Yeah.
That's so true.
It is. It's the biology of belief. So good. Candace Pert did another book too. I don't know if she's Pert or Pert. The Molecule of Emotion. They're two fantastic books. I saw Bruce Lipton live one time. It was great. He's really a wonderful speaker.
Yeah, sure is. You were talking earlier on about the power of tapping, the EFT. Can you explain that a little?
Yes, I will. EFT is a very simple method. And if you do Ho'oponopono with it, it's even better. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And so you take 2 fingers and you stimulate between your eyebrows on the side of your orbital bone here, underneath your eye socket, and then on your collarbone. This is called faster EFT. This was by Robert Smith, and and this is the short version that is still very, very effective. So what happens is you just think about the problem that's bothering you in this moment, even if it's like I can't sleep, an insomniac, and you just tap and you say, I release and let it go. I release and let this go. It's safe for me to let this go. It's okay for me to let this go. And it's very, very effective. And what you're doing is you're stimulating, from what I understand, acupressure points here, here, and here. And this releases you get thoughts, you have all kinds of things that come up as you're doing this. It's quite extraordinary. It's very effective.
Yeah, so it's like reprogramming the subconscious mind with the statements that you're saying at the same time as tapping.
Yes, and it's rather than reprogramming the subconscious mind, I think it's releasing the subconscious trauma, whatever's related to it. So, but it would be, I think, once that's released, you would want to reprogram with healthy thoughts or, positive affirmations.
Yeah, once you get rid of the old stuff, you want to put the good stuff in.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm an EFT practitioner as well, but this was before I got my certification, and my father and I had always had a bit of a conflict all the way up through my childhood, and I really felt deep down that there was something in there that I needed to clear, and I felt it was anger. So I'm sitting there one day and I'm tapping away. I'm so angry at my father. Tap, 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 tap. And the next day, I felt like I was having a heart attack. So I think I really went at that too fast. It needs to be done a little bit gentler instead of going straight for the jugular.
Yes, yes.
Do you find the same?
It's a gentle process. The way it works for me.
I think that was my first right. I'm really going to do this. I'm going to fix this.
Well, I think we dive in with head first, right?
Oh, totally head first. Yeah, I got myself a bit of a problem for a couple of days, but I didn't.
Really angry.
Yeah, I think I was. But I didn't feel like there was a physical issue. I just felt like I needed to let things go.
Yeah.
Just to allow it to release.
Exactly.
But it wasn't until afterwards, that I started to feel better. I realized how light I was. So it definitely cleared a whole ton of stuff for me.
For sure, it does. And you can see someone's face before and after a tapping session.
Yeah.
You've seen it probably too, Dawn, right?
Yes.
They look all scrunched up and stressed out. And then afterwards, their face is totally
relaxed. Like nice and light.
Yes.
And happy. Yes.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
So that's just another modality. Yeah. And tell us a little bit about your hypnosis. I mean, what inspired you to go down the hypnosis route?
I don't know. I think it's the power of subconscious mind. As a child, I read Joseph Murphy, The Power of Subconscious Mind. And at 17, I took the Silva method, which was, another thing about the subconscious mind. And once I understood that, in fact, I think I was 13 years old when we went to the Edgar Cayce research, what's it called? ARE in West Virginia Beach.
Okay.
And his facility there, in the first book I bought was How to Become Psychic. And the second book was How to Be a Hypnotist, how to use hypnosis. So it was always there for some reason. And it ties in with the power of subconscious mind. It's just always been a fascination for me that you can reprogram whatever stuff is in there, It's extraordinary to me. People don't even realize how, they've got not two hemispheres of the brain, but two parts of your beingness, your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. And so, yeah, it's always been a fascination.
I remember, oh my goodness, I mean, this would be back in like 1990 or something. I'm really ancient, but it was back then. And I wanted to stop smoking. And I had gone to a hypnotherapist, and I remember just sitting there, and she was saying all these words, and I'm thinking, I'm not feeling anything. I don't know what's going on here at all. and I I thought I was open to it, but I don't think I was. Do you find that the more open you are to something like this helps, or do you find that if you're a bit more closed off, like I was at that time, it's not likely to work properly?
Well, did it work or didn't it?
No, it did
It
not.
didn't work. And did
No.
she give you a cassette or something to listen to repeatedly?
Oh goodness, I think she did.
And did you?
One of these old-fashioned ones.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, I think I did. But
And it still didn't work.
no, I don't think so.
So
Maybe
your
it was just
trigger,
me.
I assume that my take on it would be that your trigger was not addressed.
Mm,
Whatever is your trigger for smoking was not addressed. And maybe a past life regression would have done it.
quite possibly, quite
Yeah.
possibly. Yeah, I mean that's been my only experience with hypnosis, apart from what we did recently, which was just wonderful. And yeah, it was very hard for me to and I don't remember much about that at all. That was very hard for me to say because I remember most things.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean we can chat about my past life regression
Yeah.
if you'd like.
Sure. I thought that was just wonderful. I mean, it's not the first time it's happened to me, but to think that I had two people tell me the same, that was fascinating. First of all, I mean, second of all, the first one was the fact that you want to tell the audience what you saw in that past life.
Yeah, well, you were asking me, where are you? Describe where you are. Are you inside or are you outside? And then you asked me to look down at my feet and look at my hands. And I was like a greyish blue colour. And I had very strange hands. And I was on a planet, on a beach, but there was like three big, huge moons there. And then you asked me a few other questions, I think, and then you took me to the next important point in that lifetime. And I was
Mm-hmm.
getting married.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I recall.
But
Tell us about your hands. What was strange
oh,
about
my
your hands?
hands, my hands were strange. And do you know what it does afterwards? I never thought about it at the time, but it reminds me of Avatar in the blue. So there's like three fingers and one thumb.
Mm-hmm.
So there was only the total of four
Mm-hmm.
there. Yeah,
Yes.
but I was like a pale blue color.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the way you were dressed, in that you couldn't decide if it was loose-fitting pants or a tunic on top, or
Hmm.
well, subsequent to that experience, and that was a wonderful experience for you. I think you finally realized that, yes, I don't belong on Earth.
Yes.
That was my favorite lifetime. Oh, that was great. I think you got a lot of confirmation and validation out of that one.
Yeah, I certainly did. And
Mm,
I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thoroughly enjoyed it. But
yeah.
it was funny because when I was listening back to the recording, the audio recording of that
Mhm.
first part of the past life regression, I didn't even get 10 minutes and I was out for the count. I was just sound asleep. I think that happened the first two or three times that I listened to it. I didn't even
Mhm.
get into the past life and trying to relive it again. I was just gone.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
clearly needed to sleep at that time.
Well, your body responded to the hypnosis to
Yeah,
go back
yeah,
deep again.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So what happened? Let me just tell the audience what happened
Please,
after that
please.
experience. Well, I had another client on another day within about a week, I'd say, and uh, she's in this hypnotic state, and I say to her, "Get a sense of where you are." She says, "I'm on a beach, looking at the sunset." I said, "Oh, that's nice. Look down at your feet. What are you wearing on your feet?" She said, "Nothing." Uh, she said, "My skin has a blue hue." I said, "Oh." And then I got the tip off. You see, for me, I have to think fast because you never know where someone's going to land up. Where are they going to be? What kind of questions do I need to ask? I always start with indoors and outdoors, and look at your feet. Well, I asked her to look at her hands next because now this was the tip off for me. Okay, she's blue. Um, now we'll look at the hands to see if there's 4 fingers, a thumb and 3. And that's what she said. She said, I only have 4 fingers. Well, and I said, well, look at your clothing, what kind of clothing you have, loose fitting pants. Honest to God, this was the strangest thing. It was just like yours, Dawn. It was just like yours. And then I said, we're going to move ahead to the most important, to another important day in this lifetime. 1, 2, 3, you're there. Get a sense of where you are, what's happening now. All these people are around me. They're at tables all around me. I said, okay, explain this. Describe the scenario. I'm getting married. I thought, oh, this is too weird. You two don't know each other. And you two don't live near each other. But she had the same kind of experiences, like right down to landing on the beach. She was looking at a fiery orangey yellow sky, at sunset, and she was dressed the same as you, the same 4 fingers and blue skin. And then the important day in her life was her wedding day. And I asked her this time, I asked her flat out if she was Taigetan. Because when I asked you, you volunteered that I'm Taigetan.
I know. Okay.
I don't know what that is. I'd heard maybe the term. So this time I asked her, are you Taigetan? She said, that sounds right.
Just felt right to her.
Exactly. It was quite extraordinary. I'd never had that happen before. So it just sort of shows you that we're all connected, on many levels, I would think.
Yeah.
Energetically, we're all connected.
Well, maybe we were connected in a former life on another planet. You never know.
Oh yeah. Well, the thing is, we think forward, backward, because we're living here on Earth, and we have to have this linear time construct. But really, I think when we're out of here, not in this physical body, we don't experience time the same way. I know if you go to a psychic and you say, well, when's that going to happen? And they can never get the time right because everything is fluid.
Yeah.
And it's the same for us. We say past lives, but that's really a misnomer because it's going on exactly right now. Every lifetime is happening now, whether it's a future life or a past life. Those words don't mean anything because you're having this experience right now while you're in this state of hypnosis, and it feels real. It feels real. And it's vivid. You have all the sights, smells, sounds. It's so extraordinary. There is
no past, there is no future, there is only now.
Exactly. And the point of power is right now in the present moment. So stop hanging on to things from your past. Like somebody said, like, I've had 30 years of depression. And when you say that in the present moment, you're recreating the depression in those 30 years past.
Yeah.
Just let it go.
People live in their past. We do. We're just so familiar with the past and the feelings that come with it, where it's very hard for people to break free. Absolutely. Okay, Tracy, we're almost out of time. So will you tell us where we can get a hold of you? I will put your website on screen there, and I believe you've got an offer for the viewers as well if they want to explore it a little bit further. Tell us about that.
I do. Thank you. I will. Right now, I am running a buy 2, get 1 free. I think it's really important for people to understand that this is not a one and done scenario. If you're looking to get over a challenge, it's highly unlikely that it's going to happen in one session. So I have a buy 2, get 1 free offer for first time clients, and I always do a free discovery session because I want to understand what challenges you're hoping to overcome, and I don't want you to waste your money. I want to understand your expectations, and I want to be able to satisfy them. So I always do a free discovery session, which is about 15 to 30 minutes, and we just sit down and talk, and I get to know you, you get to know me. We build a bit of trust in case we're going forward into a session, and that's really helpful.
Okay. Yeah. And what about social media? Where can people find you on social media?
Well, I'm still building up my Facebook page, but it is it's there. It's Visit a Past Life. You'll find it on Facebook. I also have a YouTube channel called Visit a Past Life. I've tried to be consistent here. So you'll find me on YouTube as well.
Excellent. Well, it's been a great conversation. Thank you so much for joining me. I really, really appreciate it. And I want to say thank you very much to the viewers as well. It's been nice to have you, and I hope to have you next week, where we're going to have another exciting guest. So thank you so much. And thank you, Tracy. Love you, sweetheart.
Thank you,
Lovely to
Dawn.
see you. Take
Mwah.
care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.